Good morning or good evening, good morning, and welcome to the Bee Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. Sarah, when I tripped to myself, I said good morning when actually um, welcoming Jennifer McBride all the way from Virginia, and it's 5:30 p.m. there on Tuesday, and here I am saying it's morning, and you're probably going, "What are you talking about, Bee?" Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome. I want to start with I want to celebrate all your successes and also the fact that you went through this huge amount of inner strength and resilience at a crazy time in the world, which was COVID. But I want to start
Right.
with a quote that you're one of your favorite quotes because I think it's a good way to always start a show and that is and it's kind of for me it's pertinent in terms of what we're going to talk about today, but you talk about shoot for the moon, even if you miss. Uh, you'll always, um, you'll always find amongst the stars. Is that right? There's something like a quote like that that you absolutely love. I want to know if
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
To land among the stars.
You
Yeah,
always,
absolutely.
you always land among the stars, and I love that. I love that to set this show up because shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you'll always land among the stars. And it sounds
That's
like
right.
that's been somewhat your journey to date, right? In terms of you're the founder and CEO of Nation's Best CPR, which is a leading provider of CPR and health safety training across the USA. You're a tech-savvy entrepreneur with a sharp eye for systems, efficiency, and scalable processes. And you built your business to serve hospitals, universities, and corporations with accessible, high-quality training. But in
Right.
2020, everything shifted, and boy, did everything shift in 2020. I vividly remember it as well. And
Yeah.
amidst the onset of COVID, you had a divorce, you
Yep.
had your MBA graduation, you
Yep.
became a single mother of seven, but you had six living at home at the time.
Right.
That's a lot of
Yep.
kids. It's huge.
Yeah. Yep.
I can't imagine the
Very
overweight. Very
blessed.
blessed. And you kept your business alive amongst all of this. So when everything
Yep.
was falling apart almost, you
Yep.
found this deep resilience that emerged out of it and this inner clarity. And so it's amazing. And so I would love you to tell us a bit about your story because it's one of operational brilliance because you've had to keep everything operational from a business perspective, but everything operational from a personal perspective as well. And
Yep.
and that belief in yourself as well, and then obviously technology as a tool for empowerment in your business. Tell us a bit about your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you bring up that it's both business and personal that I had to have systems. And yep, blessed with seven kids, four biological, three adopted.
Oh, wow.
And it's a lot. Yeah, so there's a big age range. I say it's like batch one and batch two because my younger ones are still in the home and going into middle school. My older ones are all now adults. But we got the little ones when they were infants from foster care. But it's a lot. It's a lot to juggle. And I use the same principles. I actually learned a lot being a mom that transfers over to being a business owner. So everyone's different. All learning styles are different. Personalities are different. You have to work with everyone differently. The organization is required to prevent as much chaos as possible. So both of them are very similar as far as systems, organization, processes, things like that. But yeah, as you mentioned, all at one time while the rest of the world was all up in arms and we were all feeling it, everything that could hit feels like it hit all at one time. And I love to share this story simply because it is hopefully encouraging to people to know that all the odds can be against you.
Yeah.
The business, small businesses were closing left and right, and the fact that we're still standing is a miracle.
Yeah.
Um, and to be able to do all of that, to go through the divorce, I was literally graduating with my MBA, had to do the graduation ceremony. They did it online,
Wow.
because of course we couldn't go in person. Um, and then all of the kids and I had furloughed my employees because we had to stop offering CPR classes at the time. And so working through all of the systems of how to take care of all the people who had already registered, all of the in between with the business, it was a lot. It was a
Yeah.
lot to process. Um, but yeah, but we made it and rebuilt the business. So it was kind of cool from an entrepreneur standpoint to know that you could do it again and to come back from a different perspective. So when we came back after everything shut down, we had to do it with different parameters. So we then had the challenge of I had to, ease people back in so I could just bring in one at a time or part time and did everything that I could to keep things afloat by myself. Again, I would attribute that to both systems and technology and then bring people in one at a time, like I said, part time up to full time. So there was strategy and process involved in all of that, and then rebuild with the new criteria that we had to have people 6 feet apart
Yeah.
and do a class like you did before. So rebuild your business with new parameters, fewer people per class. So the revenue was different. It was a lot of challenges, but through all of that, I would say as an entrepreneur, it just makes you stronger. You have to think of different things
Yeah.
and come up with new, you always hear about people needing to learn to pivot. I think that's critical in business. You can't, when you come up against an obstacle, that's not time to quit. That's the time to pivot. That's the time to think differently, look at different opportunities. So yeah, so it was very hard, but it also made me that much stronger as a business owner and as a leader.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. How did you, I mean, because it was your whole life, right? It was personal, it was
Right.
professional, it was all of it.
Yeah, all of it,
So
all
your
of it.
personal world's kind of somewhat falling apart or changing from what
Yeah,
you expected. But
yeah,
then you're also got this business as well. How did you navigate your way through, like, were there days where you were just like, oh, I can't do any of this today, like I'm just like not coping, but then you've got 6 children around you as well that
right.
have to be coping. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
how did you get up each
yeah,
day during the thick of it?
yeah. Honestly, it was because I had to. I mean, I tell people, you always see people and you'll see their story and you'll see what they're going through and you're like, I couldn't do that. But when you have to, you do it. And I would say that a lot of moms face those kinds of situations, just moms in particular. We'll do anything for our kids. And I think that was a big motivation for me is that I could continue to move forward and provide for my kids, create stability for my kids. And they were my major motivation. I'm also a believer, so I'm a Christian, and my faith is huge to me. So of course I leaned heavily on God to just help me with the peace and try to, cope with all the feelings you're feeling inside every day and not that I was perfect at it, but not let that run over into employees or into kids.
Yeah.
That was hard. That's really tough. And then you have to find ways to kind of figure out how to cope with that stuff yourself somewhere, whether it's prayer or meditation or exercise or counseling. And I did all of it. So I think that's really important. And we miss that again as CEOs and entrepreneurs and leaders in general. We neglect ourselves.
Yeah.
That's something that came out of that for me because I was never really good at taking care of myself, but it forced me to have to
Yeah.
learn that.
You had to, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think when you have your own business as well, you're like, you've got so much going on. Yeah, you do. I think COVID in general forced everyone to take stock and look at what can I do differently. When it came to your
Yeah.
business, was there any points in time where you were like, I'm just going to shut shop and I can't, like, was there any like of that where you were just like the mind was almost taking over and you were kind of ready just to quit and potentially just get a job? Like what was going on with in your three?
Yeah. Yeah. There's always those moments that'll creep up on you that you're like, I just need to give it all up because it's so much and it's so hard. And just owning a business in general is tough, let alone dealing with all of this other part. But like I said, I just was so focused on, I knew that having my own business provided flexibility, and it provided me an opportunity to be able to create a future. If I work for somebody else, I can't do that. I don't have control. If I have my own business, I can have some sort of say in my success. And so there, of course, were moments that it feels like for a fleeting moment, I'll think, oh, it'd be easier to go work for someone else. But mostly I was just so focused on get back in there, meet the challenge, keep driving, find a new way, and provide and have that flexibility and control over my life. This has been such a blessing. It's very hard as a business owner because, it's your whole life. It goes away and there's no income there. But you also have the privilege of being able to be flexible. So I'm a single mom with all these kids. I don't miss school events. I'm there when my kids need me. I can kind of work my schedule. If I need to work on a Saturday and change out a Thursday, I can do that. And that's the privilege of business ownership.
Yeah.
So
So true.
I just felt very focused. So those moments, while they're tempting to think that you'd want to close up or work for someone else, I was just really focused on certain goals that I wanted to achieve through this.
Yeah. And did you have
Yeah.
mentors? Like, did you have a mentor, a coach, or a guide help you through this as well? Or were you just like when you were like talking about your focus or were you just
No, no, I will tell. Honestly, I was just so focused on the providing part. And I think when you're faced with those situations where it's all or nothing and it's up to you, you can really rise to a challenge. And I've heard it said since then, I have been part of coaching groups and things like that. But at the time, I wasn't in one. But I've heard it said that if you will treat things like it is, like what would you do if this were life or death? Or what would you do if everything depended on this? That's kind of the mindset you have to have, even if it's not, though I was really in that situation. But I've heard that said a lot from other business coaches and mentors that I've worked with since then, is they encourage people to just focus as if this is everything, because people will pull out all the stops and accomplish things they never thought they could if they treat things like that life or death or this is make or break. We
yeah,
just have to give it that kind of intensity.
I sometimes say that to myself to motivate myself in terms of I say this is all I've got, this is all I've got. Like there's nothing else. Like, do you know what I mean? I know that sounds a bit like, but I'll do that at times too when it's like it's not going how you thought, or something's happened, or something's kind of come up, and you're like, okay, well, I just got to keep going. And my mum
Right.
always says, stick to your plan, and a plan always
Yeah.
changes. But like, what part of the plan can you control? And I think that is it true in both life and like business and as a leader.
Right.
How long have you had? How long? I forgot to ask you that. How long have you had nation's best CPR? How long has the business been operating for?
It's been a decade now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Started out kind of small and then just kept growing. And then we were really at a peak when COVID hit. And then closed everything and built it right back up again. The great thing is that we already had the experience
Yeah.
and all of that, so we can take off pretty quickly.
And so
Yeah.
how many people are in your business?
So now I've got around 10 or so full-time people. I've kind of made a switch from having a lot of in-house staff um, to I have some outsourced help. That's been a real game changer for me because my business is heavy back end work. So between automations and outsourced help, I've been able to make this where it's much more financially feasible to continue to do the work um, and continue to grow. Because at one point, we were inhibited just by the number of people who could sit down and enter, like do data entry and back end work. And then when I started finding out I could automate a bunch of that. So one awesome example was when I figured out how to automate 80 hours of work every single month, 80 hours into like not even a day and for hardly any money. And so that started the addiction to, oh my gosh, automations and the software and all of that. And then we've got probably 300 instructors who are contractors, and they are the ones that go out and deliver the classes all over the country. So they
Wow.
teach the class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so that's your tech savviness, right? Have you always been tech savvy and operational? Like, is that something that you're like, I mean, I guess with 7 kids, you
Yeah.
kind of have to be, right? Like,
Yeah, you need to be operational if you're going to have that many kids. But yeah, I've always been minded that way, and I like software. I've always been really, just tech savvy. I enjoy finding ways to make things work. I like process improvement, that Six Sigma kind of thinking, lean processes. I love all that kind of stuff.
wow.
So it's fun to figure out the solutions.
How cool. And so then how is the business now with AI and everything in the world? Like
Yeah,
like it's like COVID AI. Although I watched something the other
yeah.
day which was super interesting and I loved it because it talked around AI, it's hype. Like it's whenever there's a new form of technology or, revolution, it starts off as like a big hype, and
Right,
everyone's
right.
scrambling for it and needing to get into it. But then it almost just calms itself down.
Hmm.
Have you, how has that impacted your business in terms of from a tech
Yeah,
perspective and has it enhanced it?
tremendously. Yes, yes, yes. So I'm able to do so much more. So where I was hitting those ceilings, technology, AI, you know this, everybody probably realizes it's not going anywhere. It's not a hype, it's not a fad, it's not
No.
going anywhere. And it's changing so rapidly that if people don't jump in, they are going to be left in the dust. I had seen a statistic that said over 70% of women's jobs will be replaced. That is because they're heavy admin a lot of times.
Yeah.
So those jobs are going to be replaced. And so I think it's really important for people to be jumping in, start with Chat GPT. It's not Google. Start letting it do work for you. I use it almost all day, every day to do work for me. So I'm over here telling it, match up, these spreadsheets, compare these, combine these spreadsheets, do this analysis for me. And I'm letting that do that while I'm off doing something else. And this is how my whole team is working. So AI has changed everything. All of the automations, what wasn't even possible 6 or 8 months ago is possible now. Software that you start playing with, it just keeps moving forward. So
Yeah.
stuff that they didn't have features a couple months ago,
I
the
know.
features are there now.
Something popped up yesterday
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. Yeah, I'm the same. I think from the hype perspective, I think it's more that, when the internet came in, everyone was like, oh, but it's like you say, there's the hype around it right now, but it's not, it's more that it's not going away. So like you can either resist it, be fearful of it, how you embrace it for your business. But like you look at
right.
you from a productivity and efficiency perspective to be able to then do the things you need to do within your business,
Yes.
where you
Yeah.
need that human potential, where you need that creativity coming through. It allows you to do all that. It takes away
Right.
the low value versus what you need to then focus on.
Right. That's it. And that's what we've really been focused on. And that's what I've talked to my team about a lot is that this is not intended for small businesses. I think it gives us a lot of opportunity, not to replace people, but to tap into their brains where we need the humans to run this stuff and think through the strategies and kind of manage. I keep telling everyone, like my managers, like you're a conductor. So you're over here just conducting all the things, but you still need the people to do that.
Yeah.
So all it letting us do is do more. And so for our scalability and growth, AI was a huge answer, and it still is. I mean, we've not even scraped the surface of
Yeah.
what's going to be possible.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I love your energy. Like it's almost like
Oh,
nothing's impossible, everything's possible. I don't know if you've ever heard of that quote by Audrey Hepburn as well.
yeah.
Like it's just and it's true, right? Like you're just
Yeah.
like you just how do you do it? How do you I mean, I know you said belief in everything else, but how do you keep your cup full? How do you ensure that you can stay strong, have that inner resilience? Yeah, are there days
Yeah.
where you're just like, I just need to chill, I just need to switch?
Yeah, definitely. So I've learned that is something I've learned over these past 5 years that I was not super self-aware before COVID and the divorce and all of that. I was more focused on everything and everyone around me. And this forced me to stop and focus on myself. And I learned to be self-aware and listen to my body. That is huge. I had ignored it completely. And now I've learned what makes me feel better. So exercise makes me feel better. Drinking water. I drink a ton of water every day. Getting good sleep, like all the things you hear to do. But when you do it and you feel so much better and you have so much energy, then that you got to pay attention to yourself, your body, because it's trying to tell you. It tells me when it's time to slow down and go sit on the back porch and savor the quiet time because your brain can calm and then you can think. The best business ideas I have are when I'm calm and either driving or it's somewhere
Same.
quiet. It's not in the office.
Yes,
Yeah.
same, totally.
We have to listen to that. We get too busy and then we tune it out. And so it's critical. Like we feel like we're wasting time, right? Like, oh, we got to be in the office for 10 hours a day. But the most productive time is when you can think and think clearly.
Yeah, it's that non-time, right? Like, and everything you're talking about there, I call it the foundations. Like, you have to have your foundations in place because if you don't have those foundations in place, like if you lack sleep, you don't drink enough water, you eat bad food, you're on your screen 12 hours, 10, 12 hours a day, you're not setting yourself
Yeah.
up. Your foundations
Right.
are leaky. There's holes in your foundations.
Right.
And so, of
Yeah.
course, then you're not going to be your optimal self. You're not going to be feeling and performing
Right.
at your best or what I say, shining your brightest because
Right.
it's impossible. And I,
Right.
and I
That's like when our computers get junked up, right? And then we're like, we're so mad because it's so slow. It's got to be cleared out and cleaned up, and you got to get rid of the junk so it can go fast. And like your body just feels better if you take care of yourself
I,
and you
to-
listen to it.
yeah, I agree. And I don't know about you, but like when I've been using AI, there'll be times when it's so like it's overloaded. Like, I don't know, it's kind of like so slow. You're watching it, and you're just like waiting for the answer. And I think we've become getting so
Oh
used to
yeah.
the speed of it, and then all of a sudden
Mhm.
it's like, and then I go, like it's not keeping up. Like it's like, and then I think how many people are on this, and I think that's where I look at it and go, we all just need to slow down. Um, when you booked the pod, I have this pre-question, and it's around what's one experience in life or an insight in life, leadership, or business. And I love it. You talked about perseverance.
Mhm.
Obviously we've talked around we haven't gone into the detail of it, but you're graduating with the MBA, the divorce, and COVID all at the same time, and actually in brackets May to June 2020. So perseverance, tell me a little bit about that because like people will say you just need to persevere, you just need to continue. Like again, like what's your view on that whole perseverance
Yeah.
piece?
Yeah, it's funny because last week I was actually talking to someone really close to me, personally and on my team. And she was kind of questioning how I think about things. And I said, I just boil everything down to the basic, like priority, what has to happen, what, is critical to focus on today, or, what can we put off to tomorrow? So, I think it's really important to be able to not get overwhelmed, to be able to focus on what those priorities are. So don't borrow trouble. That's what I always say. Like, we're not going to borrow trouble. And so in order to persevere, you can't be overwhelmed. So you have to take piece by piece. So you have your goal, you set those goals, and let's say you set if that's 2 months, 6 months, 3 years, whatever that goal is, then you break it down and go backwards into bite-sized pieces and worry about that. and then you can just keep going. And so perseverance, I think, comes down to setting yourself up for success so that you aren't defeated.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, setting yourself up for
Yeah.
success so you aren't defeated. And what was the other one
Yeah.
about don't borrow trouble? I love that. What's your whole
Don't borrow trouble.
what do you
So we don't borrow trouble from tomorrow or next month. We need to leave that for tomorrow or next month. And we need to focus on what is our
front of it?
problem today. We have enough problems for today. We don't need to borrow them for
I
tomorrow.
love it. So it's just focusing right on
Yeah.
the present moment. What's next for you and what's what next for you and your children and what's next for you and the business?
Yeah, so many fun, exciting things. And a lot of it at work has to do with um, just continuing to fold in more automation. There's so many opportunities that every single day, this is like learning a new language.
Yeah.
Once you start doing it, you're like, oh my God, every day you keep finding stuff. And so I recently went to a workshop with Alex Hermosi. I don't know if you
Oh
know who
yes, yes, yes,
acquisition.
yes, yes.
Okay, love them. And so I'm doing a program with them and just came back super pumped up and excited to start implementing some new changes to keep growing and really kind of just clearing out any obstacles. So I know my next obstacle, working on clearing those out so that this business can continue to expand. So my plan is to double this business in the next 2 years. And it's very, very possible with the use of AI and just having a clear focus. I dropped one part of my business recently just so that I could focus and be the very best. We're founded on B2C, so business to consumer.
Yeah.
Customers come to us and take the classes. So we don't go on site anymore to businesses. Most CPR businesses are built that way. They go out to businesses, so they're B2B. But we were founded and built this whole business on B2C and realizing that I needed to focus on that. I had not tapped that out. It's very easy for business owners to think they need to take all these opportunities, but we need to actually do the opposite. We need to be the very best at the thing that we do. And so I've made that huge change and look forward to just doubling that part of the business. Yeah. And then as far as the kids, everybody's trucking along. Everybody's doing great. I've got kids in college. I've got kids going into middle school, and they're all good. They are so resilient. I've been so blessed to see them. I thought all of this was going to just be so detrimental to their lives.
Mm.
And I remember for a time I did really worry just how bad I might have messed up their life. And they are healthy and happy and whole and restored. And just the kids alone show me that perseverance, resilience is possible and what it can yield.
I love
So
it.
I have things ahead.
You're such an inspiration and adoption as
Oh,
well.
thank
Like,
you.
I mean, we could go on
Yes.
another whole story around that in terms of
Yeah.
choosing to adopt. That's such a gift, what you've done in terms of how many children did you adopt? Did you say three?
3. Yeah. My
Yeah.
3 youngest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. Such a
Oh,
gift and such a thing to pay forward. Do you know what I mean? To give back in three young children from foster. And no doubt
yeah. They're amazing.
they needed, well, of course they did. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's a huge honor. Like people do always say that, to me, they'll say, well, that's wonderful what you did for them. And I feel equally as blessed. Like they're amazing. And again, if there's ever a story of resilience, it's these babies. I mean, they were drug exposed babies, and they are amazing. People also ask, how do I feel about nature versus nurture? And I will say there's a strong case for nurture. These boys are so loving. They're so sweet. They're so smart. So they're amazing. That just watching them inspires me.
Mm,
So yeah,
wow.
it's been
Wow,
an
wow,
honor
wow.
itself.
Jennifer, I generally ask everyone to give us one piece of advice or a tip. And I'm thinking, what would be one piece of advice you would give somebody who is in a moment in a moment in time of, I'd say, survival mode, where it's either in life or in business? What would be one piece of advice you would give them? Or they're in both, they've got life and business, so it's just, and they
Yeah.
can't see the wood for the trees.
Yeah. Put one foot in front of the other, and then I promise it will get better.
Yeah, I said that to
It
someone the other
will.
day.
Yeah.
I know it from
Yeah.
my own experience, put one foot in front of the other, and some days you just have, that's
That's
all
all
you
you can
can do.
do.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Yeah. That's all you can do. Don't borrow the trouble for tomorrow. Just focus on today. Put one foot in front of the other. It will get better. Just keep moving forward.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'd say bouncing forward. How do we find out more about you?
Yeah.
And how do we find out more about your business?
Yeah, so we're at nationsbestcpr.com and we're on all the socials. And so that'd be the best way. We'd love to, hear from people. I also have the CPR CEO as kind of my personal side project. I like to help people build their CPR businesses, and I share a lot of my tech stuff through that medium because that's where I have fun, is just sharing all the stuff I
Yeah, I
learned.
love it.
So,
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's paying it forward, isn't it? Yeah, you're incredible, Jennifer. Thank you so much for
oh,
your
thank
time.
you.
And
Thank you.
thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, Bee.
Thank you.